ASMR stands for Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response. After saying that, it's easy to see why the abbreviation caught on. What is it? Why do people like it? About a week ago, I was of a mindset that it was uncomfortable, it was weird. And after doing some research, it's still kind of weird, but I can see why people like it. So, since I have learned this, I'd like to share it with you. Let's start with the history of ASMR. I feel like you need to know the history to get exactly why it is the way it is and what it is. The easiest widespread starting point of televised ASMR, and this is very loose here when we're starting in the beginning, would be Bob Ross. If you don't know who he is, do yourself a favor and watch a video or two of his. But for the rest of us, the chilled out painter Bob Ross is a shining example of widespread relaxation videos, not only with visual aspects, but with the audio of soft strokes and splashes, as well as his very soft voice. It's quite easy to grasp why videos like this would be easily widespread in the coming years, with a fair few directly inspired by this. The first ever audio-visual YouTube videos that seem to be quite close to what we define as ASMR now came from a channel called Whispering Life. This would be the first person to break ground with the ASMR scene, and like some hipsters say, she was ASMR before ASMR was cool. Now keep in mind it wasn't called ASMR at the time, it was simply called whispering. It's easy to determine what exactly this content was by its name and why it would catch on. It would begin with the initial wave of these channels, a majority of them having whispering in the title of their channels because that was the main point of their videos. It would be in this initial wave that they would start to mix in external noises as well. This would go on for roughly about 2 years, where a lot of evolutions were made to the variant as you know. An official name was starting to be thrown around at this time, because at this stage, just calling it whispering wouldn't be accurate. Now you had people making sounds. Some people didn't even talk at all, yet it still would be referred to as pleasant sounds or nice, relaxing sounds. I mean, to have an umbrella term would really help to bring it all together, and that's what they did. On a blog post that had been around since the very first ASMR video, called The Unnamed Feeling, gave out quite a few interesting name ideas. These were AIE, AIOEU, AIHO, or head tingles. AIHO stood for Attention Induced Head Orgasm, which, though very oddly sexual in nature, is not far from the ASMR acronym. Another was also AIE, or Attention Induced Euphoria, which was a bit close to sounding like a mental illness, which is part of the reason it didn't catch on. There was a hybrid of both, AIOEU, Attention Induced Observant Euphoria, but this was, in the end, ditched for ASMR, Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response, which also is relayed to be some sort of tingle or mind orgasm. That second, though, has been detested by most creators, as it creates, a false narrative of sexual nature that kind of is a plague on the community. It's a can of worms, which I plan to open in the coming episodes of this series. There were a few websites made to discuss it, as well as a Facebook group, though due to time, most of the content has been lost. Due to the name change, a new class of ASMR videos came out, this time finally, being branded with ASMR. The rest, as they say, is history, or more akin to evolution. This classification broke the shackles of whispering, and now ASMR could be almost anything under that umbrella. Most had someone talking in a low tone or whispering. They refer to the low tone audio as soft spoken, but it's kind of like when your mom gets mad at you out in public and doesn't want to cause a scene, but you still need to be corrected. So she like gets down. She's like, "Get out to the car. I'm going to beat you." Don't take that too literally. So there would also be a new genre called role plays, which is still the most prominent, and it has received a lot of praise and a lot of criticism. Uh, that is another can of worms to open up on a future episode. But hey, it's you do what you got to do. If you have a story to convey, it is a great tool, but sometimes it is abused for certain types of content to get more money out of it, trying to rig the system. It's a whole can of worms. Some had a visual element, some didn't. ASMR can be anything one deems to sound good or to be classified as ASMR. It isn't for everyone. I mean, it isn't really for me, but at the end of the day, you have to respect people in this community as they work very hard to make this content. Also, look out for my new ASMR channel, Nails on Chalkboard ASMR. I'm uploading a new video called Goblin Screams in a Microphone and Scratches Metal Objects. It's good. It's going to be quite good. So now that you know the origin of ASMR and you know what it is, what else is there to say? Well, a lot. This is part one of a series I'm working on. In the next episode, I will discuss the main points of critique, some of the rough spots ASMR has, and why it's still seen as kind of sexual. And this is a bad grouping when in all reality, it's only a small section, and I'll get into why. I just want to clarify what these groups do. I want to set the record straight, and I thought I'd make an initial start, and tell everybody what it is, how it was started. There you go. Now you know. And if you want to know more about it, stay tuned because I'm working on these, and they're going to be probably the biggest videos I've worked on so far. We're getting right at the 20-minute mark on the next one, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're writing it, because I write all these out, and right now I'm improvising, but it's quite a lot of fun. So I'm going to be covering that, and if there's anything else you want me to cover or anything you want me to talk about, I'll be doing on that. And I'm looking into getting some interviews with small creators. I'm talking, like 20 subscribers, like people who have just gotten on, and I want to see what made them get into it. I want to do a whole bunch of stuff, but hey, it all matters on how we get out there. If we get enough views, if we get 100 views, I could, you know, get people in, but I can't see that happening. But share this video if you want that to happen because I would love to interview people. I would love to hear from people. And hey, this might be a 3-part series, might be a 5-part. We'll work on it. I want to make sure it's as good as it can possibly be. I mean, if you enjoyed this video, give it a like. Share it around if you want to entertain some people, want to educate some people, and, be on the lookout for the next episode. Anyway, check in the description for the video sources, and thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a good rest of your day.